This is the reason that the Russiagate shenanigan and the Russiagate hoax was rolled out. It was to focus on, who hacked the emails? Let's not focus on what's in the emails. Let's focus on who hacked the emails, right? It's like, basically your wife catches you cheating, right? Comes home and checks your phone and sees basically these text messages, and basically you're just like, honey, don't focus on the text messages. It's clearly the Russians that hacked my phone and placed them there. Like, that's essentially what they did. They're like, honey, don't focus on the text messages. Just know that it was Russia that did it. And like, for all the brainwashed liberals, it's the equivalent of them going, that's obviously what happened, honey. Thank you for letting me know that you weren't cheating on me. Instead, it was the Russians that framed you. Hello everybody, I'm Mango Thunderslice, and today we're talking about the Russiagate hoax, the total and final collapse of the Russiagate hoax narrative and the Mueller report and all this, and explaining why it is important, why it's not just who cares anymore. Like, it's very, very important, and it's been 3 years, so it's easy to kind of forget sometimes where this all began and why any of this matters beyond just a distraction from anything important, right? But it's a great day for America as of yesterday. Basically, it's good no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, because if you support the president, obviously now he can move forward to enact even more things than he already was that are good for the country. And if you oppose him, if you're on the genuine intelligent left, that small little sliver that remains, basically you should be celebrating this as well. Even Michael Moore was like, basically, I told you guys at the beginning of this thing, anybody who paid attention to this is an idiot, and now just STFU, because you've completely destroyed our party, you've completely wasted 3 years of time, and it's time for you to just sit back. Like, honestly, at least the radical communist progressives, right, at least they still want to talk about things that they consider to be issues, right? They might be completely wrong about them, but at least they want to talk about issues. Like, climate change is a complete, fake non-issue that is contrived by a bunch of pseudoscientists, right, and peddled as a political doomsday cult for the sake of, implementing more global socialism and policies, whatnot, carbon tax, but that's still an issue. At least that's still, as fake as it is, it's still more material than Russiagate. There's literally nothing to it, and there never has been. This has been entirely conjured out of thin air from the very beginning, right? It all started with Clapper and Brennan basically just declaring that they had high confidence that Russians hacked the election. They provided no evidence. They saddled their conclusion on 17 different intelligence agencies, even though hardly any of those agencies had anything to do with it. And even the agencies that did, it was still just an edict put forth by the directors and deputy directors and whatnot. It was not in any way some investigation by the rank and file of the FBI and the CIA, whatnot. It was a complete joke. Right? They say, a Russian IP address, a Guccifer 2.0, that's our proof, right? Right. Again, as I pointed out, everybody who uses the internet beyond looking at cat videos knows that with a VPN, you can spoof an IP address. I can look like I'm in Russia. I can look like I'm in Romania. I can look like I'm in South America. It doesn't matter. It's all just an IP address. There's a couple of numbers, and you can change those numbers, and oh my goodness, I'm a Russian, right? And then the hacking of the DNC, right? The other half of this completely BS story, right? Some of the most elite computer systems people in the world, Veterans Intelligence Professionals for Sanity, right? They came out and showed that the data transfer speed of the files that left the DNC are physically impossible to be done over an internet connection. Is only possible over a thumb drive, and the speeds that were recorded are very, very common for thumb drive data transfer speeds. So, this is where we get into Seth Rich, right? And the emails that were released by WikiLeaks from the DNC basically showed that, they were aware of there was the initial files that got released by Seth Rich, right? Everybody knows this. And those files showed that Bernie got robbed by Hillary, that Bernie was winning in several states, and basically because of the delegates and super delegates, more importantly, they basically just shut him out, and they coronated Hillary Clinton over the popular clamor for, Bernie Sanders. And I have no love for Bernie Sanders. He's a total loser. But, the democracy would say that he was the one who should have had a chance to run against Donald Trump. But it was her turn. We all know it was her turn. What a joke. And so basically they gave it to her. And then the WikiLeaks, ones came out, and they showed basically, there was John Podesta saying, we want to make an example of the leaker. They knew that an inside person had taken the original files. And so basically John Podesta was in the subsequent email saying, let's make an example of him. Let's basically, and so soon after that, in July of 2016, Seth Rich was murdered, I believe down the block from his home, a true American, a martyr for the cause, and we'll all be eternally grateful for him for setting this chain of events in motion. Right. So, and on top of that, the WikiLeaks started the whole Pizzagate thing of showing not just things like spirit cooking, which is, all out in the open and affirmed, right? Marina Abramovic, and basically these weird satanic rituals that they're presenting as an art installation, right? And this is a big thing. For those of you who have been around the channel for a while, I made a video a while back called San Francisco's Comet Ping Pong Identified, and I was talking about a place in San Francisco, but it's called the Midway, and it's down by the docks, and it's basically like a music and art venue. And we went there not knowing what it was for a show one time, and we basically walked right into a cabal, basically a hive, a den, and it was the most sickening, disgusting, satanic thing I've ever seen. But it was all presented as if it was just a normal music show and a normal art show. But you'd look a little closer at these pieces of art, and they were all extremely perverted and satanic and disgusting in a way. Like, if you looked at them just cursorily on the surface, they didn't seem bad. They seemed just like, I don't know, they had holographic type effects. It was just art. Then you look a little closer, and it's like weird, dark sexual things, like not normal celebrating human sexuality things, like really evil, dark stuff just lurking right beneath the surface. The people there pretty much sealed the deal. I mean, we saw 13 and 14-year-old girls, like all glittered up, clearly on Molly and ecstasy. Their pupils are basically the size of their head. And, basically all these adults, dressed up in furry costumes and whatnot. There's a giant satanic network in this country, a just mass epidemic of degeneracy. And it goes all the way from the bottom of society, of just rank and file Satanists and cabal members like at the Midway, at that event we randomly walked into, all the way up to the very top of high covens of witches and satanic warlocks and whatnot, basically. And that is what Hollywood essentially is. All the big women that you know from Hollywood are all witches, right? They all participate in satanic covens. They conduct magic, black magic involving sacrifices, and they engage in cannibalism. They engage in ritual satanic abuse of children. They engage in all number of unspeakably horrible things, all for the sake of their satanic church, right? And this is not an American thing, too. This goes, there was Jimmy Savile Jimmy Savile, whatever, in the UK. We got the Pope and the Catholic Church and the Jesuits, and, we got all these rat lines with the Red Cross and the UN and this whole thing. And this was all basically, this all started coming out in the WikiLeaks emails, basically showing that the Podesta brothers and several high-level people within the Clinton campaign were using a set of code words that were established by the FBI as code words used by pedophiles. This is the reason that the Russiagate shenanigan and the Russiagate hoax was rolled out. It was to focus on, who hacked the emails? Let's not focus on what's in the emails. Let's focus on who hacked the emails, right? It's like, basically your wife catches you cheating, right? Comes home and checks your phone phone and sees basically these sext messages, and basically you're just like, honey, don't focus on the text messages. It's clearly the Russians that hacked my phone and placed them there. Like, that's essentially what they did. They're like, honey, don't focus on the text messages. Just know that it was Russia that did it. And like, for all the brainwashed liberals, it's the equivalent of them going, oh, that's obviously what happened, honey. Oh, thank you for letting me know that you weren't cheating on me. Instead, it was the Russians that framed you. Like, you know, a person with half of a brain would clearly see that as an evasive maneuver to escape responsibility in answering to the actual revelations, which were the emails themselves, right? But that's essentially what happened. So anybody with a brain, left, right, center, anarchist, authoritarian status, right, everybody could see that that was a diversion. It was only the TV-watching, brainwashed, lobotomized idiots that thought that that was a legitimate excuse. And again, they were given credence by, you know, a couple of old commies who, you know, infested Obama's administration, James Clapper and John Brennan, both of which you think I'm just talking smack. They were registered communists back when they were kids, back when they were younger, and they somehow still got confirmed to executive positions within the intelligence agencies. Welcome to the swamp, my brothers. But yeah, here we are. It's 3 years later. It does not end with a bang, but with a whimper. The ignominious end of the Russiagate hoax is basically Robert Mueller, an old man looking like he's like trying to find a tub of ice cream in a walk-in freezer, and he's being excoriated and interrogated by all these old men on both sides of the political aisle. Some asking, and why haven't you found the ice cream yet? Why haven't you found the ice cream? The other half asking, you know, did you know you're not actually in a walk-in freezer of ice cream? You're actually in the middle of a cornfield. Why are you looking for a tub of ice cream? That's essentially the my on-the-fly metaphoric representation of the Mueller hearing yesterday. You almost start to feel bad for the guy. It's like, this is just an old senile man. Like, even the Democrats are admitting it. Like, this was not good. Like, he barely had any answers. He didn't know what was going on. Again, he was like a confused old man looking for some ice cream. And it's like, it's clear that he was not in charge of the investigation. It's clear that he had no idea what was going on, and it was just completely politically bought and paid for underlings that were running the thing, right? And wow, it's really great. The beautiful thing is they can continue on with their Russia thing now, because it's just grabbing the knife that is already stuck in the middle of their abdomen, and they're just pushing it farther in and twisting it. Because if they think that this is going to lead to any meaningful victory, forget about the White House. There's no chance, 0% chance that Trump does not get reelected. It's going to be the most glorious presidential election in all of American history, in my esteem. But also at the congressional level, there is going to be no rest for the wicked in Congress either. If they think that Russia is going to lead them to more gains in the House or the Senate, when it basically didn't lead to anything. It didn't lead to impeachment. It didn't lead to charges, right? They charged Manafort for stuff he did in Ukraine, which also was done in conjunction with the Podesta brothers. The Podesta brothers weren't charged mysteriously, you know. And then there's basically the General Flynn, a 3-star general who did nothing wrong whatsoever, and he's had his life destroyed over nothing for talking to a Russian ambassador, which is normal procedure for literally every single administration since George Washington, to talk to foreign ambassadors. But in this case, it was you know, too much to handle, and it was a crime, I guess. And then there was the Russian hackers, the supposed Russian hackers that were charged, the people who worked at a troll farm in Russia. And what's interesting about that is a judge just recently came out and said, and basically struck down the whole thing, saying that, with prejudice, saying you have not made even the most remote basic connection between this private company, this Russian troll farm, and the Kremlin. You have not established any ties whatsoever. It's basically just a private company who engages in, you know, digital, you know, just like 1,000 different companies in California and in the United States as well. Just companies that do digital marketing and whatnot. You know, I'm sure there again probably is, you know, active measures by the KGB and whatnot, FSB. It doesn't matter. $100,000 on Facebook ads. Let's kick it. Like, there's 300 million people in this country. They're saying that $100,000 of Facebook ads can swing an election. How retarded do you think we are? And beyond that, there's the amount of money spent by the campaigns themselves. Hillary Clinton spent like $2 billion, billion with a B. I mean, I don't know what the exact figure is, but I'm pretty sure it was in the billions. She spent on her campaign in total, also combined with the DNC spending. And what did they get for it? Zip, zilch, nada. Oh God, it's so beautiful to watch this all just finally end. And it's again, getting back to the point, there is, right, the reason that they came up with the Russiagate hoax was to distract from the fact that the WikiLeaks emails revealed elite satanic pedophilia in the Clinton campaign and the Democratic Party. So how interesting is it in the coincidence theorists that basically here we are at the end of the Russiagate investigation, and now Jeffrey Epstein has been arrested, and it's leading to the total unveiling of this same set of information: the Clintons, pedophilia, child sex trafficking, satanic, occult, weird temples and processions and whatnot. And so it's just beautiful. Here we are 3 years later. They have gained nothing but to delay. They have achieved no meaningful legislative, achievements. And now basically Trump, through masterful political maneuvering, has made the communist terrorist Ilhan Omar and the radical raving ideologue Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to be the icons and banner children of the Democratic Party, basically ensuring that there are massive red team swings in 2020 in the Congress. And so, yeah, wow, it's beautiful. So Trump is now at the zenith of his political power. And that's again why we saw the arrest of Epstein. The dominoes are going to keep falling. We're going to see more and more high-profile people exposed, and this chain reaction will keep going until we live in an entirely new and transformed world. The paradigm shift will have been complete, and for better or worse, we will have a political system that is honest and representative. And basically, if we have to go through and basically destroy Hollywood and destroy Washington, D.C., metaphorically speaking, and unveil all of the most deep, dark secrets of these imperial cities, then that's what we're going to do. And because it's the age of information, there's no other alternative, my brothers. It's, the light of God is shining on this planet, and all will be revealed, as old Jesus said a long time ago. So that's my video today. Let me know what you guys think about the Russiagate hoax and all the developments today. I myself am very optimistic. And again, it doesn't even matter whether or not you place faith in Trump. I think he's doing a fantastic job. There will not be a war in Iran. The only way that negotiations work is if there's a plausible threat of violence. Just like with North Korea, it worked. It's going to work in Iran, right? Trump does not want to start World War III. If he did, he already would have. And he wants to get elected. He wants to be known as the greatest president in American history. And by my measure, he will achieve that as long as he just keeps on a current course and allows the Justice Department to do their job and drain the swamp. I almost forgot the cherry on top of the cake. On Monday, July 22nd, the New York Times wrote an editorial, right, from the New York Times editorial board saying that Trump is correct to seek closer ties with Russia and to try and peel China away and not create a grand Eurasian alliance to oppose the Western Empire. So after this whole 3-year shenanigan, now we have the New York Times suggesting that Trump do exactly what he wanted to do back during the 2016 election, which is to seek closer ties with Russia and prevent a giant Eurasian alliance against the United States, right? So we've truly jumped the shark when the New York Times, after all of this Russiagate shenanigan and saying that Trump is a treasonous traitor for even talking with Putin in Helsinki, right? Now they go after all that and pretend like it doesn't exist and say, you know what? Trump should really talk to Putin. He should really court them and try and... Oh, my goodness. Welcome to Clown World, my brothers. Hope you're having a good time. So that's my video today. Hope you guys are having a great day, a great week, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.
I